You ever look at your computer and just wonder what's actually going on inside that box? See, it's not some single magical thing. It's really more like a high-performance team, where every single part has a super important job to do. So today we're going to open it up, meet all the players, and figure out their game plan.
I mean, think about it. You press the power button and bam, your screen just lights up. But what is actually happening in those few seconds? What are the real physical components that are springing to life in there? That's exactly what we're about to break down.
Okay, first things first, let's get a key definition out of the way. What is hardware? It's actually really simple. If you can physically reach out and touch it, it's hardware. Think of it like this. The hardware is the physical stage, all the instruments, and the musicians. The software, that's the music they all work together to play. So to really get to know this team, here's our roadmap. We're going to start with the foundation that connects everybody. Then we'll meet the star players, the ones responsible for all the thinking and remembering. After that, we'll look at how the team stores information for the long haul, introduce the essential support crew, and finally, talk about why teamwork and balance are absolutely everything.
Every great team needs a home base, right? A central field where all the action is coordinated. Well, inside a computer, that's the motherboard. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This thing looks like some kind of complicated city grid, with all these slots and circuits everywhere. But its main job is actually pretty straightforward. It's the central hub that connects every single thing. Every other part we're going to talk about today plugs right into this board. It's how they all talk to each other.
So yeah, you can think of it as the computer's skeleton. It gives everything structure. Or maybe it's the lifeblood, carrying all the signals and power between the vital organs. The bottom line is, without the motherboard, you've just got a useless box of disconnected parts.
All right, we've got our foundation down. Now let's meet the two star players on this team. The component that does all the thinking, and the one that handles the short-term memory.
So meet the CPU, or Central Processing Unit. This small chip right here, it is the undisputed brain of the entire operation. Its whole job is to take instructions from you and your software and then just do them by performing literally billions of calculations every single second. So how do you measure how powerful this brain is? Well, it mostly comes down to two key stats. First is clock speed, which we measure in gigahertz. Just think of this as raw speed, how fast it can think. Second is the number of cores. You could think of cores as individual brains. So more cores means it can work on more tasks at the same time. You know, one core can handle your music while another one is focused on your web browser. In general, bigger numbers for both means a faster computer.
Now, even the fastest brain in the world needs a scratch pad, right? A place to jot down what it's working on right now. That is RAM, or Random Access Memory. It's a computer's super fast but short-term memory. If you've ever had a ton of browser tabs open and your computer starts to slow to a crawl, well, you've just felt the limits of your RAM.
But RAM has one really important catch. It's what we call volatile. This means its memory is completely temporary. As soon as you shut down your computer, poof, everything that was in RAM just vanishes. It's a totally clean slate every time you boot up, which is exactly why you need a different part for permanent storage.
And that brings us perfectly to the computer's long-term memory, permanent storage. This is where your operating system, your apps, and all your precious files actually live, even when the power is off. And here we see a major split in technology. On one side, we've got the classic hard disk drive, or HDD, and on the other, we have the modern, much faster solid-state drive, or SSD. They both do the same job, storing your data, but wow, do they do it in fundamentally different ways. And this slide illustrates that difference perfectly. Think of the hard disk drive kind of like a tiny, high-tech record player. It has spinning disks and a little arm that has to physically move around to find your data. The solid-state drive, though, is completely electronic. It uses flash memory, just like a USB stick. There are 0 moving parts. And that one single difference, well, it changes everything.
This mechanical difference has some huge consequences. As you can see here, SSDs are just dramatically faster. They're more durable and they're silent. This is why having your operating system on an SSD makes your whole computer feel so much snappier. HDDs, on the other hand, are way cheaper when you need to store huge amounts of data. That's why a lot of systems will actually use both. A fast SSD for apps, and a big HDD for files.
So we've met the stars of the show, but no team can function without a solid support crew working tirelessly behind the scenes. These are the unsung heroes of your computer.
First up is the GPU, or a graphics card. You can think of it as the team's artist. Its whole job is to draw all the images, videos, and animations you see on your screen. Next, we have the Power Supply Unit, or PSU. This is like the team's chef. It takes the electricity from your wall and converts it into the perfect meal for every other component. And finally, you have System Cooling, all the fans and heat sinks. They're the medical staff, constantly working to pull heat away from hot components like the CPU to keep them from overheating.
And that brings us to the most important concept of all. You can have the best, most talented individual players in the world, but if they don't play well together, the team is going to lose. Take a look at this. It's a real-world product listing from a store. Just a few minutes ago, seeing 12 GB RAM or 1 TB SSD might have just been confusing jargon, but now you know exactly what those terms mean. You can actually read the language of computer hardware. But just knowing the parts isn't enough. You have to understand how they interact. And this leads us to the supercritical concept of a bottleneck. It's kind of like having a superstar quarterback who can throw the ball 100 yards, but the rest of the team can only run 10. All that amazing potential is just wasted.
In a balanced system, all the parts are on a similar performance level, and that leads to a smooth, responsive experience. But in a bottleneck system, a single slow component, like an old clunky hard drive paired with a brand new CPU, it just drags the entire system's performance down, causing stutters and those frustratingly long load times.
So, the crucial point, the big takeaway here, is this. Performance isn't just about having the best brain or the fastest storage. It's about building a balanced team where every single component can keep up and work together effectively. The system is truly, truly greater than the sum of its parts. So, you've met the players, you understand their positions, and you know why teamwork is everything. Whether you need a machine for some intense gaming, creative video editing, or just for browsing the web, the core principles are exactly the same. So now the only question left is, what kind of team will you build?